Well, I was skiing again this past week.
Oh my God, you're hitting the slopes a lot recently. Is that like been your main thing recently? Just skiing? Have you always been a skier?
Yeah. I've been getting more into it again lately, though. And we actually did get an email from one of our listeners about it as well.
I saw, yeah.
Jared, I guess this is dipping into the world famous mailbag a little bit early, but I wanted to shout out Jared just for saying, I live about 10 minutes from Whiteface Mountain. Glad to hear you enjoyed your time upstate and that you respected it. A few people die there every year, including one a week or so ago who skied into some trees. Very glad that wasn't either of you. And yes, I will say,
God.
This past week I was at Bretton Woods, which is in New Hampshire, and I did go into the trees, but I was going very slowly.
Okay.
Like so slowly that if I had bumped into the tree, it would have been like...
No, skiing seems so much fun. I don't know. The only sport, if you could even call it that I have like done more than when I was just like a child was Taekwondo. Have I ever told you I have a black belt in Taekwondo technically?
Oh, I don't think you did.
No, yeah, I don't talk about it often because I forget about it because it was like over 10 years ago at this point. But yeah, no, that was like my sport of choice, if you could call it a sport, which I think you could, because I would like spar. You know, I would put on the gear. I would do some fighting. I would do the forums. I used to be really in shape. It was kind of I was sort of a clavicular of those days, if you will. Not much anymore.
Did you get Jester Maxed or whatever the fuck? That's the meme, right? That's what's going around right now. It's that guy.
Yeah. That's how it felt when you put on the like the like puffy guards and all that shit. You feel like a jester. It feels
you in that moment have become the jester. There's a really great TikTok from a very long time ago that I'm pretty sure only I remember, even though it was lightly viral, where there's this girl. It got duetted, right? So the original video was this girl being like, just got asked out, guys. You know what that means. Guess I'm not going to do it because I'm too shy, but I do appreciate the jester. And then somebody duetted it to walk in wearing a jester hat and juggling. And then when she says, I do appreciate the jester, he like pumps his chest and points at the camera. It's very funny.
That seems like early TikTok, like old TikTok.
It was very early TikTok.
No one really duets anymore on there.
No,
duets
which
on
is a
TikTok
shame.
Fell off. That was like...
It was such a fun feature, but there's a lot of things. Like, this is the thing that I feel like people... I don't know. It's like I was there for the early... like day, well, not the early days, but like, I don't know, the early web 2.0 days, right? Of like message boards and shit like that, BBSs. I was there for early TikTok. And in both cases, I got to see how money just sucked the life out of all of these things.
Yeah. I mean, it could be an interesting examination of TikTok, especially with the current state it's now in. But like the hallmark of like early TikTok, I'm sure you know this, then it used to be Musical.ly. So
and
it
was
had
just
a whole different culture, a totally separate culture that is just dwarfed in comparison to the overall TikTok culture. So that's why in the early days of TikTok, there was so much like cringe dancing and like...
I was on Musical.ly. I was on Musical.ly before it became TikTok because I thought it was so like, I was enjoying laughing at like white girls lip syncing to the N-word. Like that was my favorite thing.
My favorite Musical.ly was, I don't remember the fucking kid's name, but the kid that's in the hospital with his grandpa.
Yes, to Bieber. Don't you give up? Nah. Yes.
And
That's
like pointing. He's
pointing back at him and doing the like double speed. God, yes. People just don't know.
That's like, to me, the like perfect late Musical.ly. Yeah, Josh is doing the dance that this young child is doing when he's like...
He wasn't a young child. He was like, what, 14 or something?
That's like a child.
Old enough to know better.
I don't know.
Maybe.
14-year-olds are pretty stupid.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But no, that to me, that's like emblematic of early TikTok out of the transition of Musical.ly. And that was in Musical.ly, but like those days. And I feel like that sort of held over a little bit into TikTok, but I digress.
It's all right. We're back. It's the B-side. We are technically here to talk about surrogacy, but I think we're kind of not.
Yeah,
going to be talking about surrogacy, exactly.
Surprisingly, there out of the maybe roughly 100,000 to ever have done a surrogacy, and a lot of the times in this show we get people emailing about their experiences. I guess we don't really have one of the 100,000-ish surrogates to ever give birth.
Yeah,
so that makes sense, maybe.
I think we already burned that one when we read her email at the beginning of the main episode.
Yeah, that's true. That was the one, actually. Yeah.
So I guess instead, rather than like going back into surrogacy, we're going to continue to tease out a thread that we talked about a bit in the main episode, which is the matter of one epic church, as well as sort of the whole broader phenomenon of fundamentalist Christianity in Silicon Valley. In the ways that it sort of connects or maybe doesn't connect to natalism and what's worth keeping an eye on. So we're going to get to that in a moment. But before we do, one thing that I just wanted to raise is that we need to update you on Trump accounts.
Trump accounts. Yeah. The last time we talked about Trump accounts, we were sort of like live while recording, sort of trying to unravel and figure out what they were about. And I think we were sort of on the right track, but didn't quite hit the nail into like what exactly Trump accounts are for. But Josh, you did a little digging into this a bit more since then.
So this is the last time that I sort of try to prognosticate on what a thing is by like skimming something as I am talking.
Thankfully that was another B-side episode, so it's not super embarrassing.
But this is still a correction that I feel is very, very important to issue. Basically, we talked a bit about Trump accounts in the way that, because they've been getting, again, more promotion lately. Like, it was, Nicki Minaj showed up at a Trump accounts event?
And the guy, I'm blanking on his name, but he was in Marty Supreme. He was on Shark Tank, the fucking evil.
Kevin O'Leary,
Kevin O'Leary was also there, like, by Nicki Minaj, which is like, all right, man. What
a mess. But... Again, just to get you caught up to speed on what Trump accounts actually are, at least according to their insane website, trumpaccounts.gov, the idea here is that every child who is born is going to be given $1,000 straight up, cash. Not sure how they're going to pay for it. This remains unclear, but they are not, it's worth noting, issuing them securities. This is cash, which then gets invested. It does get securitized, but it's not securitized into U.S. Treasury bonds. It's securitized into market funds.
So explain to me, the layman, the financially illiterate, what is a security in this instance?
So security, the idea being that rather than just taking the money and like letting it grow in a bank account or something, right, where the money is, where you get interest issued against it, but the money is liquid and you can do whatever you want with it at any time. Instead, that money is invested into some sort of a tradable object known as a security, which is able to grow in value over time. Now, the key word here is it can grow in value over time. It is not guaranteed to do so. And when we're talking about the sort of investment that Trump accounts are going to be making, it's going to be in index funds, which is to say, you take the money and you put it into a collection of stock market shares in a variety of different companies. Generally speaking, these are indexed to the biggest companies in the United States. And these are indexes like the S&P 500 is probably the most famous.
Generally companies that won't fail tomorrow.
Exactly. These are so-called blue chip securities that are expected to continue to grow at a healthy rate, but are not guaranteed to do so. Again, very important note here. United States Treasury bonds are guaranteed as long as you have the full faith and credit of the United States government, right? Unless the U.S. goes tits up, it will pay, whatever the percentage is that you signed up for at the time that the bond was issued.
Interestingly, the more anti-America option is actually the stock market in this instance.
Well, and that's actually the thing, is that historically, like if you go back and you look at in World War II, for instance, war bonds, right? The idea is, yes, the United States government commits to paying you this specific interest rate when you buy the bond. The point of buying the bond is that so that they can have the cash right now to fund the war effort.
Right.
And if you were to issue debt, again, treasury debt, even though it is debt in the sense that the United States government does owe people money for that over time, having more people hold U.S. debt actually makes the debt stronger, paradoxically, at least in the case of the United States government, because of the fact that it is such a preferred store of value, basically. Well, not store of value, but store of return, I guess. I don't know. Does this make sense so far?
It does, absolutely.
Okay. Trump accounts, then, they're saying, all right, $1,000, the Treasury issues it to the kid as cash. All that cash immediately goes into an index fund, and over time, that money can grow in said fund. But there are other ways that you can add money to that account as well. One thing that you can do is you can invest a limited amount of money into it. So, like, you can do what in the law is referred to as a... Let's see here. Just making sure I've got the U.S. code up here. I want to make sure I'm getting this exactly right. Basically, you can take some money and roll it in if you're like the parent of a kid or something like that, right? But it's not a lot of money. There's a limitation on how much it is. Now, what we had been talking about is the fact that you can still, if you want, if you are a 501c3 nonprofit, you can take as much of that money as you want and put it into Trump accounts. The thing that I didn't realize, though, is it can't just be one specific Trump account. It has to go into something that, under this law, is referred to as and I'm just making sure that I again, am getting this exactly right. They refer to something in the law as a general funding contribution. And what a general funding contribution means is that you are giving it to something that is called a qualified class of individuals. So in order to be like, oh, my 501c3 wants to donate money to these Trump accounts, you have to give to all of the accounts in the qualified class, and you have to give them the same amount of money. And so, remember how we talked about how Michael Dell was going to match the Trump accounts up to a certain threshold for a certain number of accounts?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Oh, okay. So it's to many different, random people's Trump accounts? Is that what it is? Random people?
This is the thing that's unclear.
Yeah.
Even in the law as written, it's extremely fucking unclear what this means.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'm just going to read straight from the law in terms of what qualified class means. In general, the term qualified class means any of the following. 1, all account beneficiaries who have not attained the age of 18 before the close of the calendar year in which the contribution is made. So literally everyone.
Everyone. Wait, what? That's fucking weird. Okay.
That's number 1. Number 2, all account beneficiaries who have not attained the age of 18 before the close of the calendar year in which the contribution is made and who reside in one or more states or other qualified geographic areas specified by the terms of the general funding contribution. So you could say, I want to fund Trump accounts in the state of Delaware. And you could, I guess. Number 3, all account beneficiaries who have not attained the age of 18 before the close of the calendar year in which the contribution is made and who were born in one or more calendar years specified by the terms of the general funding contribution. So you can say, I'm only going to contribute to the accounts of 16-year-olds.
That is so odd.
It's really odd.
Yeah.
But these are the parameters that dictate who you are allowed to fund if you are making a general contribution from a 501c3.
So it's not like we originally thought, where you could do unlimited amount to one account. There is that limit. Okay. I mean, I guess that's good. That's better. That's actually a lot better than we originally thought.
Yes.
Because then you could, I think what we thought, it was you could just do money laundering essentially, or money funneling, avoiding taxes, which it was still sort of probably is what this could be used for, but on a way lesser degree, I suppose.
But also, this is where I start to have a question, right? Is that, again, as written, the law says, who reside in one or more states or other qualified geographic areas.
Yeah, what does that mean?
We don't know. It's not specified in the law as written. And so I think, again, just kind of now that I'm doing this and I'm rotating the object in my mind a little bit more,
yeah,
I think that there's 2 things going on here. I think the first thing is the Michael Dell thing of, I want, a $10 billion tax write-off or whatever. I am going to make a general contribution to fund up to X many Trump accounts, and then I get my massive, 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 massive fucking tax break, right? That's thing number one.
Okay.
I think, and again, this is speculation. It's based on my understanding of the law as written. I'm not a lawyer. Because it does not say what a qualified geographic area means, I think that you could, if you wanted, fund a town or a county.
Oh, wait, do you know who has a town? Elon Musk, Starbase. He has a town.
This is the kind of thing that I'm thinking.
Wait, okay, again, this is a little bit of maybe a stretch, but this could sort of be like a part of the whole thing where like company towns type of thing. Like
this is exactly what
back to company towns.
Because there's two pieces of it that make me think this.
Yeah.
Thing number one is exactly the bit of like, yeah, I'm going to say that Starbase, Texas is a qualified area. Thing number two is that another portion of the law as written is that you can also contribute to these accounts as an employer.
Oh, wait. So you can contribute these accounts as an employer. What does that mean specifically in this instance?
It means that, like, if I employ minors, I can pay them into their Trump accounts.
No, wait. Instead of wages?
Well, I mean, legally, you're still going to be required to pay the wages required.
Okay.
I would imagine. Again, unless we end up in the dystopian future where, like, states decide that actually it's fine to pay into Trump accounts, which honestly I could see happening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more, I think it exemplifies this sort of conservative idea of what community spirit is.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, yeah, you know, this philanthropist grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. His name is Richard DeVos, just to use a very local example, right?
Yeah.
From sort of my upbringing, where it's like all of the people could not rush over themselves enough to suck off Richard DeVos because he had so much money and he was willing to sort of distribute it to people in the community. I think that what this is doing is attempting to provide a direct means of cash transfusion from wealthy individuals to specified communities. So not individuals, but communities.
Okay.
With the idea being, oh, they're enhancing this community through their philanthropy. And I guess on
it
paper
sort of undermines, on a certain degree, it can absolutely undermine federal government and state governments and take away power from the government. That's really not, I don't want to say horrifying. It's just very worrying. That's incredibly worrying. It's just yet another corporate fucking corporations and wealthy individuals continue to just keep getting steps above the government at this point. They continued. Trump's administration has been fucking hammering the government away. I mean, like EPA regulations, every single level of all of this you can imagine. This is just so fucking bad, dude. Jesus Christ.
Well, and this is the way that private philanthropy has worked for such a long time. And so I think you're going to start seeing more and more legislation like this, where they're basically incentivizing private contributions to the public good, quote unquote, but on their own terms.
Yeah.
And up until this point, like, there hasn't really been, that I know of, a mechanism of direct cash transfer to minors sort of in this broader way. And so you get the double advantage of these wealthy people get their kudos for being like, oh my God, you gave $10,000 to a whole bunch of kids. Wow. And then the second thing, of course, is that because they're still branded as Trump accounts, you get that like branding thing on top.
Of course. I mean, that's at the end of the day why a lot of this is happening the way it is because you put Trump's name on anything, you give him a trophy. Called like the greatest Trump honor. Like it could be called anything. Just give him a trophy, name something after him. He will fucking let it rip, dude. He'll just that's going to just happen. It's kind of absurd.
Now, I want to be clear.
Fucking sucks.
I could be wrong about, the way that they classify eligible geography for these general contributions.
It's just so vague. So how do we?
It's so vague, and it's one of those things where they haven't spelled it out.
Yeah.
And I am going based on the spirit of the law and what I think people are going to use this for. And I think it is because, generally speaking, these people love nothing more than to get their local communities to suck them off. I think that's how they intend to use it.
It's how they launder their fucking image and continue to get approval to take more and more power away from the government.
Well, how could you be? How could you be upset with them? They gave thousands of dollars to their community after all.
I hate the but isn't it good that it's happening even if it's like not maybe not the best mechanism. It's like, well, sure, I guess maybe it's fine. But like the long term, the thing is you have to think the long fucking term. Like the same thing with the Polymarket pop-up fucking grocery store that's free or whatever for 3 days. It's like, sure, that's good for now for like a couple of days, and that's like going to maybe feed a couple of people for now, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't like that. Like we can just sort of have this insane like money laundering, gambling prediction market scheme and not have them pay taxes and try to avoid that shit and sort of launder their reputation that way.
Well, and what incentives does this create too? Right? That's the question that I always ask.
Exactly.
What sort of behavior are you incentivized to perform as a result of this? And to me, the answer is, if you want money, you have to beg for it from your bettors, right? That I think is what's going on here. And if you want to, I don't know, fund the general well-being, one really good way to do that is by taxing these motherfuckers. Hey there, you're listening to a preview of an ill-conceived B-side. We do these episodes every other week exclusively for our paid subscribers, where we talk about stuff from the show that we weren't able to get to, read your mail from the world-famous mailbag, and also talk about news items and other stuff that is connected to what we've been covering on the main show. If you're interested in getting access, it's just $5 a month, and you can unlock these episodes by heading over to patreon.com/illconceived. Hope to see you there.